Everybody's favorite, Judge Judy. Let's see who she's going to yell at today.
Mr. Sharp, were you driving that day?
I was not.
Who was?
My son.
Good. You can sit down. He's standing up. Each of you two gentlemen claim that the other is responsible for almost very serious traffic accident. You were both driving?
Correct, Your Honor.
This incident happened when? What date?
It was August 29th, 2013.
Who else was in the car with you?
2 of my friends.
Were they all okay?
Yes.
You want to tell me your version of the accident? You want to go over there and tell me?
Yes.
So there's a traffic light at the intersection.
Yes. I was driving south on Belmont Avenue right here. I was going straight, and we were going to a football game with me and my friends.
So it looks like we have a classic car crash that we see here at Ramos Law quite often, and that is one driver's going straight and the other driver coming from the opposite direction is making a left. Now, as a general rule, we want to represent the person going straight, because the person going straight, even if they're speeding, even if they go through a late light, they're typically still going to have the right of way and be found less at fault than the person that's turning left, because if you're turning left, you have to have the right of way. The exception, of course, is if you've got that green arrow to turn left, then you have the right of way. I'm not sure what the traffic signals were doing here, but that's kind of my initial assessment on a case like this is, what's the traffic signal doing? That's probably going to determine the outcome most of the time.
And I got to the intersection. I had the right of way. It was green, and I was driving through. I was basically right there through the middle, and I got hit. He hit me. I went airborne. The airbags deployed. I went airborne into the cemetery, over a fence and everything, and hit a tombstone, and that is where I stopped.
Okay. So you were going straight,
Yes.
and Mr. Goranson was making a left turn.
Left turn.
Correct.
Okay. And Mr. Goranson hit your car
Yes. And made me go
on
into
the
cemetery.
front
Yeah.
driver's side of the car?
Yes.
Okay. Go. Do you have a police report?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Just give her the whole thing. Just give her all of it.
Before I take a look at this, you want to go over there and tell me your version of the events?
All right, I was going down Belmont Avenue North.
You were coming, you're the blue car, and you were making a left turn.
Correct. I was in the turning lane, and I was going to make a left turn. When I approached the intersection, the light was still green. So I pulled out into the intersection, and while I was sitting there, there was still traffic, so I was unable to turn.
So you're not actually supposed to do that. And I think most drivers don't know that. If you're going to be making a left-hand turn and you're one of those folks that's easing into the intersection to make that left-hand turn, you're really not supposed to do that. You're supposed to wait for the intersection to be clear and then execute your turn. I don't think most people know that. I don't think most people do that. But let's see what Judge Judy has to say about it.
While I was sitting there, the light turned yellow on me. So there was still traffic coming through. I was still unable to turn. Once the light turned red on me, I eased off the clutch to turn onto 304 Churchill West.
That's exactly why you're not supposed to be in the intersection, right? Because if you're in that intersection and the oncoming traffic is coming, and then your light turns red, well, you really shouldn't be executing a left-hand turn, but you're still stuck in the middle of the intersection, right? So that can create a problem. That's why you're supposed to kind of stay back so that you can execute that turn. So I don't think it's going to go well for this defendant.
And he hit my front driver's side, went into the cemetery.
He hit your front driver's side? That's impossible. Where did your car end up, sir?
My car?
Show
here.
me. I see where the collision was.
Yeah, right
where
here.
did your car end up?
Right here. I was only going 2 miles an hour. I was literally
Impossible.
stopped.
Impossible. Okay. You weren't going 1 or 2 miles an hour if his car ended up in a cemetery.
Judge Judy's now an accident reconstructionist expert, so let's...
I was at a dead stop. And then I went to turn because the light turned red. And as I went to turn, he collided with me running the red light.
Now you can stand up next to him. You see, the problem exists because unless...
You gotta like the coordinated outfits here, right? You've got, the red hanky and the red tie for the kid. They put some thought into this and they both look good. And you know what? That's important. You walk into a courtroom and you don't look right, it's not supposed to matter, but it matters. And I think it matters to the judges. And I think it's really important that if you're in court, even if it's for traffic court, dress appropriately, look professional, wear your best. I think it matters. And, this guy's got it figured out and his son looks better than the other kid. I think it matters.
Unless I'm missing something, there is a video that would tell me whether or not this young man was turning the way he indicated and your son ran a red light, or whether your son had the right of way. That video was available because there's a bank there someplace.
It was unusable for the police. They didn't even use it for the police report.
Well, I see that they didn't get it.
From that camera, the traffic light was not visible, so our statements would not be able to be held up from the video.
See?
Yes.
At the scene during the whole process.
So video footage is critical, right? A lot of these cars now have front cams, back cams, traffic cameras. There's cameras on businesses. And as part of our work here in Ramos Law, in fact, if we have a dispute as to who did what, we'll deploy an investigative unit to go out there and figure out what happened, go to local businesses that might have cameras pointing at the road. And, sometimes it's real helpful for the case and sometimes it's not, depending what's on those cameras. But it's usually very definitive if you have a clear line of sight as to what happened. It sounds like that didn't happen here, and the camera footage wasn't relevant.
And Liberty Police, which the local police department, sent us home. They had enough, leave everything, you couldn't be at fault. That's why I have the other police email on there that was at the scene. How do you turn left in front of somebody?
Well, I can't take a police officer's email. I can look at an official police report because that's a business record. But a correspondence that somebody had with you, whether they're a police officer or not, that I can't
I was
accept.
trying to bring it.
So she's talking about hearsay there, right? Hearsay is an out-of-court declaration used in court to prove the truth of the matter asserted. That's that fancy legal nonsense that people don't like to hear. But that's the definition. And so it's generally inadmissible. But there's a whole bunch of exceptions to the rule, one that she mentions here, which is the business record exception. So generally, you can get business records admitted as hearsay. And you have to lay a foundation for it and prove some stuff. But the email is probably not a business record, and so you would need to bring that police officer in to testify. You can't just have that email. And the reason is the other side doesn't get a chance to cross-examine, right? And they have that right. So that email's not coming in.
My only problem with you, Mr. Goranson, is clearly, based upon the police report, you hit the plaintiff's car with such force that it was impossible for you to be going 1 or 2 miles an hour. Not possible, based upon the police report, because he had damage not only to his car as a result of his being hit by you, irrespective of whether the light was red or green, but you hit him with such force that he traveled and broke a tombstone, and both airbags were deployed.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm not so sure I agree with that, right? Because if he's coming through that intersection, meaning the guy that's not turning, and he's going, like a bat out of hell, and, there's an impact with a vehicle that may not be moving super fast, you can still have a heck of an impact based on the speed of the other vehicle. So I don't know if it said that in the police report, if there was a reconstruction or something like that, but that part of that's just not making sense.
So I have a problem with that. If you were standing in a stationary spot waiting for cars to turn, you would have been going very, very slowly, because now the light turns red, so you were making a left turn on a red light.
Which I was in the intersection at the time.
You were making a left turn on a red light.
Correct.
Where you shouldn't have been. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to stay back. Unless it's clear for you to clear making a left turn, you're not supposed to be in the middle of an intersection.
And there it is. I mentioned that earlier, right? He's supposed to stay back. Folks, this is an important driving rule that most people just get wrong. You have to stay back because of what happened here. You could get stuck in the middle of an intersection with a red signal and cause a whole bunch of problems because you can't make that left-hand turn, right? So you're supposed to stay back. Most people don't do that.
Because if what you're telling me is true, then the cars that are coming from the opposite directions, they now have a green light, and you're still in the middle of the intersection.
Which is why I need to turn now.
No, you shouldn't have been there. You shouldn't have been there. What? You can stand up when you talk to me.
Okay, sorry.
Do you understand what I'm saying? He shouldn't have been there. You have to maintain safety when you drive. Now, but say I believe him, that he got into the intersection, turned yellow. There were still cars going on, so now he waited until it was green and he made a turn at 1 or 2 miles an hour.
I was at a dead stop sitting there in the middle.
Impossible by virtue of the impact on the car. Do you have photographs of your car?
Yes.
I have photographs too.
I'd like to see photographs of the car. No, I want to see photographs of the car first that
Okay.
was hit.
Okay.
Okay. Can I see photographs of your car?
Yes, this is my vehicle.
This is your car?
Correct.
That's some accident for going 1 or 2 miles an hour.
Which is why I believe he was
That's-
speeding.
No, he's not speeding. You're speeding.
He wasn't moving
How did he hit
Going
him?
to the cemetery.
because
Oh, my goodness, my goodness,
Hold on.
my goodness, my goodness, my goodness.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I already commented on this, but there could be an impact like that with that left turn guy not going super fast if the other driver's going like 50 miles an hour. So I think Judge Judy is an accident reconstructionist, but she seems convinced.
Can you give me the price on a 1999 Nissan Maxima, please, Bird?
GXE, SE, GLE,
What is
GLE.
it?
2000.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. That's all.
Why does that excuse when they step out?
I think it's the right decision, probably for the wrong reasons. He can't make that left. He doesn't have the right of way. But there could have been some fault on the other driver if he's coming through a red. And then what you have is an apportionment issue. Apportionment is what percentage of fault goes to each party. And let's say that the guy going through, coming through the red light but not going straight, let's say he's 40% at fault. Well, then that $2,000 would get reduced to $1,200 because he'd get 60% of the damages, right? Because it would be subtracted for his fault. So not totally sure I agree with the result on this one, but certainly an interesting case.